not true. They know it's not true. It doesn't matter what's true. It matters the story they tell when you're gone. It doesn't matter what's true. It matters the story they tell. It matters the story they tell.
There's truth and there's untruth. But if you stick to the truth even against the whole world, you're still not mad.
Hello, it's June 2023. I just want to do a really quick video about something that has been gaining momentum across Canada and apparently even around the world, because there's people around the world giving support to this particular cause. And what I'm talking about is political prisoners. Now, there's a movement here in Canada which is focusing on 4 individuals. If I'm not mistaken, there are other individuals who are in jail awaiting their trial date, and this whole movement really, from my understanding, is focused around 4 individuals. Now, when all this took place a year and a half ago, whatever, I did look into it and researched it, talked to a few people quietly about it, and I kind of mentioned it in videos back then, but it seems like there's now a push for this whole idea of political prisoner, and what people don't understand, what is a political prisoner. Before I get into that, I just want to say very clearly, I'm not stating anything against these 4 individuals or any cause that they may be affiliated to with regards to any kind of types of protests or anything else. I've made it very clear through other videos throughout many years and comments and everything else, and posts my position on that, which is founded on knowledge and understanding that most people don't have. But anyway, I digress. So I just want to be very clear, I'm not saying anything against these people. However, and it does tie into a bigger picture here. But so there's one of the things when these 4 individuals went to jail was allegations of having some sort of weapons and wanting to go to war as a descriptive with police and government and everything else. Now, I'm not stating whether that's true or not. I don't know. But I do know one thing, how false allegations and false narratives are applied to individuals, for example, people in positions of authority, to discredit someone, to destroy someone. Now, in my story, I've shown over many years a plethora of independent evidence to support that there are false narratives against me and the wrongful convictions and everything else. So there's no question with regards to my story. However, there's nothing really presented for or against these individuals. We just have as a descriptive, the official story. Now, I'm mentioning that because that's one of the biggest things that people who are supporting these 4 individuals are saying, well, it's all false, which, again, I can confirm that it is very possible that official narratives can be false. And there are people who are opposed, for example, these 4 individuals who keep highlighting, oh, they had weapons, they were going to kill police and everything else, and blah, blah, blah. Well, that's not why these people are in jail. There's 3 reasons why people are held in custody, in jail, while they wait for trial. 1, they have had opportunities with court orders. All they had to do was comply with court orders and wait for their time in jail. However, when you breach a court order, especially multiple court orders, well, the court's saying, well, listen, we've given you every opportunity to comply and you know, act of good faith type of thing on both sides. You didn't comply, so we're going to hold you. And that's what appears to be with these individuals, not just these 4, but other individuals who were connected to the convoy. They breached court orders, and the courts appear to have given them a lot of slack and people just carried on disobeying court orders. Obeying the court order would have given the opportunity, for example, to deal with the initial charge or charges or whatever issues and confront them. But what happens is, over time, even if those initial issues are dropped, you're still having to deal with other criminal offenses, like, for example, breaching court orders and everything else, which may also be dropped or may not. Who knows? Discretion of the courts. And the courts decide what evidence is allowed and not allowed, and what's deemed, for example, to be hearsay and everything else. A judge is supposed to be a gatekeeper of these things. And as with my story, we know how flawed that can be. But I digress. So that's one reason why someone could be detained waiting for trial, is they've been given opportunities and they keep breaching court orders. And even at some point, bail is posted and they still keep going against what the court said to do or not to do. Then we have, for example, being deemed a threat to self or society. That ties in more with the allegations of weapons and going to war with police and everything else. But does that really apply here? It could be as a secondary type of reason why, but really we go back to the first reason, breaching court orders. And finally, we have what's called a flight risk. For example, someone who they don't think will show up to the trial date or next court appearance. They're going to flee, they're going to go in hiding, and then there's going to be these warrants, and people are, authority types are going to have to track them down and everything else, which ties into the first one. If you're not obeying court orders, are you going to obey court dates? So there's a flight risk there for whatever reason. Some might even argue, again, I'm not stating that it's true, but some might argue that's connected to the second one. If they did have intent to whatever and they had weapons and stuff, they would simply try to go in hiding and reorganize and everything else. And I'm not saying that that's true at all. I'm going to highlight again, I'm very much aware how authority types can start off with false narratives and continue with false narratives all the way to wrongful convictions. Now, I'm going to segue to a final thought here. A lot of people are supporting movements that are against tyranny, whether it's real or perceived. I'm not saying either way. I'm maintaining a neutral position with this right now. But people are supporting these movements, and I've said for many, many years, the countless of daily injustices that happen everywhere, all around the world even, people don't care about, people ignore. People can't see that it's these countless, for example, of wrongful convictions every day that pave the road, set the stage, set the precedence for bigger injustices and bigger tyrannies. Now, all these people who are supporting, for example, the truther movements and the freedom movements and even what they think are political prisoners, are they supporting people, for example, these movements and groups that deal with wrongful convictions, or even freedom from the liberal arts, theoretical pseudoscience of psychology groups and movements? These things exist, but truthers and freedom fighters don't seem to care. They seem to be more focused on one superficial example, which is not even the root cause of it, and they're just focusing on that, which is all part of the plan. And there's all these so-called remedies, which are just smoke and mirrors. that people think, oh, well, we have these remedies, and then people sit back after. And that's why over the past several years, people originally said, oh, we're taking this to court, we're suing this and that and everything else. And I would tell them how it's going to play out, and people said, hey, how did you know? Like, because one, I have over a decade of experience on all sides of the fence. So I have the knowledge from the inside as well as being on the receiving end. And people started to take notice of that. And I'm not patting myself on the back. I really don't want to be right. All I really want is my life back, but you know, whatever it is, what it is now. So really, that's all I want to just highlight. When people start talking about being political prisoners, and when you actually look throughout history what a political prisoner really is, and people who have actually suffered, there's no political prisoners right now. I, for example, tried to expose, whistleblow a lot of different things, from the sexual abuse, trafficking of vulnerable women, to police, judicial, political corruption, which had political interference, which involved very influential people and even governing bodies. And at no time, and not only was I had to deal with false narratives, false allegations by authority types, but I was wrongfully convicted, admittedly by them, wrongfully convicted. And not once did I try to say, hey, I'm a political prisoner. Maybe I could have by some people's definition or standards, but is what happening to these individuals right or wrong? Well, breaching court orders, they had the opportunity to make a stand legally, I guess. And if they were breaching it, then whose fault is it, right? And that just allowed the opportunity for perhaps false narratives being told about them. And, well, they're where they are now, I suppose. Anyway, I just wanted to give some things to think about. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share.
Listen to this and write it down if you can't remember it. You're never going to outgrow warfare. You simply must learn to fight. I hear people saying to me, oh, when is it going to get easier? When you die.